Okay. Who sang in Sundari Rani?
I saw a little boy joining in Damodar.
Hare Krishna Mataji's.
Who sang in Hare Sundari Krishna? Rani?
Oh, Sam is my husband's name. I'm Sundari Rani.
Oh, thank you, Mataji, for joining.
I saw a little boy joining in Damodar.
Yes, that's my nephew. Hare Krishna Mataji's.
Hare Krishna.
Sam is my husband's name.
Smriti also has joined. Thank you, Smriti. Smriti is a little girl. Thank you, Smriti. Vinita, let me know when to start. Huh?
In 2 more minutes, we'll start, Mataji.
Nice to see so many devotees today.
Yes, Mataji.
I said, nice to see so many devotees today. Jai.
No, Preeti Mataji is saying something.
Should we record or no?
No, Mataji, we usually don't record.
Okay.
Mummy.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Danvat pranams to you too. All goes to Shishi Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna ji, Sukha Mataji, Koti Danvat pranam ji. Priti Rasani Gopi Koti Danvat pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai.
Danvat pranams to all the devotees. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another minute and we will start, okay? Sorry about the wait. Did you like last week's shloka?
Yes, Mataji.
That's actually a very beautiful one, you know, a very, very commonly quoted and very important verse, actually. It's like glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's a very, very key verse. So I hope all of us can memorize that verse. It discusses how Srimad Bhagavatam is actually, you know, it takes us, it takes up the place of Lord Krishna when he departed this planet. So it's a very beautiful and important verse. Okay, Vinita, it's 7:25. Can we start? I will, Vinita.
You can start, Mataji. I'll answer for Vinita.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, we can start.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Who wants to recite the invocation prayers? Any volunteers? You didn't see any raised hands. Anybody who wants to recite the invocation? Or should I go ahead and recite? Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Let's just rewind back to last week's verse and I would like if anybody would like to, go ahead and recite this verse. Actually, yeah, would anybody like to recite this verse, please?
Yeah, I'll recite, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
कृष्णे स्वधामोपगते धर्मज्ञाने सह कलौ नष्टदृशां येष पुराणार्को अधुनोदिता.
Jai. Thank you. Preeti, do you want to discuss the meanings for this verse? I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Eh,
As Krishna, Swadharma is his own abode, Upagata, he went. Then Dharma is obviously Dharma and Jnana. Dharma, Jnana together, Bisaha. What happened? That will be discussed in the next part. Kalau Nashta Drishameva. So in the age of Kali, people lost their sight. Drisham Nashta. So Nashta Drisham. For such people, this Srimad Bhagavatam, after Krishna left and people lost their sight in the age of Kali, this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Purana Arka, it's like a sun. Purana is like a sun and it has risen after Adhunodita means it has risen right after Krishna left for his abode.
Jai, so nice, Preeti. Thank you so much. It's like Preeti Mataji said, when Krishna, departed this planet, even the Dharma and Jnana went away with Krishna. So at such a time, like the Kali Yuga people were lost, right? Kalau nashta drisham esha. So they were looking for direction. And at that time, what happened? Purana arko adhunoditaha. So this Srimad Bhagavatam came up like the rising sun and, gives direction to all of us, right? We lost their vision, like Prabhupada says, drisham eva. Kalau nashta drisham eva. Esha Purana arko adhunoditaha. Very nice verse, right? Beautiful. Thank you, Preeti, for beautifully explaining that one. Let's go to this verse. Who would like to recite this verse? Yes, Sudevi, please go ahead.
इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितं उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकस्य धन्यं स्वस्त्ययनं महत्. Thank you, Mataji.
Jai
Thank
Ho,
you.
Danvat.
Who else wants to recite this verse?
Can I go, Mataji, please?
Please go ahead, Mata.
Thank you, Mataji. Danvat Pranam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmamasya Mitam Uttama Shloka Kachiritam Chakara Bhagavan Rushiha Nishreshaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastayanam Mahata. Thank you, Mataji. Danvat.
Thank you. Anybody wants to discuss the meaning of this verse? Any words which stand up to you? I mean, it's not necessary that we know all the, verses like that. Idam.
So the glories of the Supreme Lord was glorified by choice poetry.
Yeah.
Samhitam.
Yeah. Uttama Shloka is who? Is none other than Krishna, who is worshipped by the choicest prayers, right? Uttama Shloka. So Krishna's name is Uttama Shloka. We worship him with the choicest prayers, like we see in the Bhagavatam. So many devotees offer nice prayers like Brahma Samhita, Kunti Stuti, Prahlada Stuti, Dhruva Stuti. All these nice prayers are there to glorify the Lord, right? Uttama Shloka Charitam. So Charitam means, we learned last time, like Chaitanya Charitamrita, like it means the biography. Uttama Shloka Charitam, the activities, the pastimes, the nature, everything about the Lord. Idam Bhagavatam Nama. It's very simple, right? This Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. So it is compiled by none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma here is not referring to the demigod Brahma, but it is referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Okay. Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi. Chakara Bhagavan Rishi, it is written by whom? None other than Bhagavan Rishi. Why is he called Bhagavan Rishi Vyasdeva here? Because he is the
Literally incarnation of
yeah, he is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God. So Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya. So Shreyasaya for the good, for the benefit, the ultimate benefit of Lokasya, of the people. Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. So victory, Dhanyam, Swasti. Swasti means blissful or peaceful. Swasti Ayanam Mahat. So this, what does this do? This Bhagavatam Puranam, it actually is, victory, it grants victory and is very blissful, right? It grants bliss. So Mahat. So this is what it's being explained in this verse here, that this is a wonderful, literature, which is actually compiled by none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his avatar or incarnation as Bhagavan Rishi, none other than Srila Vyasdev. Is it clear? Who else would like to recite this verse? One more person who wants to recite this verse?
Mataji, can I recite? This is Mukund.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mukund.
Okay, Mataji. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. Thank you, Mataji.
Oh, Danvat.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, this is an easy verse, but then this is actually the Paribhasha Sutra of the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Who knows this verse? We should all actually memorize this verse, Who wants to recite this verse? So Devi, go ahead.
Iti jam sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge.
Jai. Two more people have raised their hands. Let's see who. Vinita Mataji, go ahead.
Ete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mrudayanti Yuge Yuge.
Jai. And we see Kabir, do you want to recite? Please go ahead.
Okay, Mataji. Ete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Tulsi Manjari Mataji, do you want to recite?
Yes, Mataji.
Go ahead.
Ete cham shakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge.
Jai. Thank you. Yeah. Is there somebody else who raised their hand? Jyoti Mataji, do you want to recite? Or do you want to go ahead and try to explain the meaning, Mataji, if you don't mind? Of any words which stand out to you. It doesn't have to be the complete meaning. It's difficult, I understand, to remember everything.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Mataji, I'll
Krishna.
just recite the shloka.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Ete cham shakala pumsah Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Thank you, Mataji.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So anybody wants to take a jab at what the words mean here in this, the translation?
Yeah.
It's an easy one.
Oh, yeah.
Mataji, I think the second line Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam means that Lord Krishna is the Bhagavan. That
Yeah.
he's the only Lord.
Yes, you're right. Krishna's tu. Tu here is referring to, but ete cha amsha kala pumsaha. All the plenary portions and portions. Cha amsha. Ansha means the portions, and Kala is portions of these plenary portions, Pumsaha, Krishna's too, of all these personalities, of all these incarnations or all these expansions, Krishna's too Bhagavan Swayam, like you rightly explained, but Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. And Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. Does anybody know what this means? So when Indra is Vyakul, like we use in Hindi too, right? Vyakulam, they use in many Indian languages, like in distress. So when is Indra in distress?
And the demons attack him.
Yeah, so the demons, we always see this war between the demons and the demigods, right? So Indrari Vyakulam Lokam, at them time, what happens?
He appears again and again.
Yeah, he appears, does it remind you of another verse where the Lord says, I come all the time to,
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थं सम्भवामि युगे युगे.
Jai Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Cha Dushkrutam. So he comes here to actually favor his devotees, and then Vinashaya Cha Dushkrutam, to actually annihilate the demoniac people, right? Like that. So we see so many incarnations. In the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the Lord's incarnations, as how he appeared to kill so many demons, right? In every yuga, like that. So this is what this verse is explaining, that so many incarnations, etecha amsha kala pumsaha, so many incarnations, the portions, the plenary portions and their portions, but Krishna's too Bhagavan Swayam. So, but of all of this, but Krishna is the Supreme himself, Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Ridayanti Yuge Yuge. So when Indra is in distress, Vyakulam Lokam, and because when Indra, because of Indrari, Indrari means the demoniac people who are the enemies. Enemy of Indra is the demons, right? Yeah. So Indrari, so when these demons put the lokam or the world into distress, the Lord appears again and again. Mridanti yuge yuge. Jai. Very sweet verse, right? All of us must memorize this verse, okay? This one, and then this is another beautiful meditation. I know Sudevi is very excited. I can see from her face. She loves this verse. I know that. Do you want to recite this verse, Sudevi?
Yes, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriyaha, Vasudeva Paranam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragatihi. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. I know you're excited about this verse. You told me it's your favorite. Yes, Preeti, please go ahead.
Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragati.
Jai, thank you. Who else has raised? Charu Mataji, do you want to go ahead and recite?
Mataji, this is Smriti.
I can't hear you, Mata.
Can you hear me, Mataji?
It's very, very low, your volume. I don't know if it's me. Can anybody hear her?
Now,
Beta, very low, beta.
Yeah, we can't hear you. It's like very, very low for some reason. Can you like come closer to the mic or something?
now can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little better, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragati.
Jai.
Smriti is the one reciting?
Kabir is reciting.
Yes, Mataji.
No, Smriti Mataji, Charu Mataji's daughter. Wonderful, Smriti. Hari Bol.
Oh, I don't know about that. Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Smriti. Okay, Kabir, do you want to recite?
Okay, Mataji. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Magha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva para Dharmo, Vasudeva para Gati. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Very meditative verse, right? I see one more raised hand actually.
Mataji, can I say this is Mukund?
Yeah, I would like you to take a jab at the meanings of the verse, if it's okay with you.
Okay, Mataji.
Right.
So the whole sloka is basically saying that Vasudeva is the Vasudeva is the ultimate Veda. He is the ultimate. I don't know what Makha means. He
Yeah,
is
Makha
the
is sacrifices, right?
and then in the third line he is the ultimate yoga, and he is the ultimate work to do. I think.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Ultimate in the sense, the goal of, the Vedas. When we study Vedas, who's the goal? What are we trying to do? We're actually
okay.
trying to.
And then same with the last four lines. So he is the param. He is the ultimate goal of having knowledge. He is the ultimate goal of doing doing austerities.
Austerity.
He is the ultimate goal of performing dharma, and he is our ultimate
Goal.
yeah
Our
ultimate.
destination. Yeah, Jai, very
Can I sing
beautiful.
a verse
Thank you.
once?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnana, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva paro Dharma, Vasudeva para Gati. Thank you, Mataji.
Jai. It's a very meditative verse, right? Which is describing, the glories of the Supreme Lord, like Vasudeva. He is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. Does anybody remember a verse from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which also talks about the first line, Vasudeva para Veda?
Mataji, it's a 5.33, but I forgot the sloka. Please forgive me.
Can I start it off for you, Mataji? Do you think that'll help you remember? Vedeshta.
No, Mataji.
Yeah, Vedeshta Sarved, Ahameva Vedyo, Vedantakat Veda Videva.
Radharani ki jai ho.
Yeah, so he says, right? Ahameva Vedyo. So all these Vedas, who are you supposed to know? It is to know or to learn about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Krishna says, Ahameva Vedyo. So the purpose of the study of all the Vedas is so that you know more about Lord Krishna, right? Yeah. And Vasudeva para Makha. Makha is referring to sacrifices. There is actually one shloka which describes the Yuga Dharma, So it says, what is it?
Hunam Janmanam Te.
No, like Krite, it says Krite Dhyayato Vishnu, and then Dvapare Paricharyaya, and then Tretaya Makhaha. So in the Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was Makhaha, to offer sacrifices. And Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanam. So in Kali Yuga, you actually do Hari Kirtanam. So this is a shloka which actually explains the Yuga Dharma for each of the Krite Dhyayato Vishnu. So in Krita Yuga, we meditate, the way or the means to achieve the Lord was Dhyayato, by meditating on the Lord. So this was in Krite. Krite is nothing but the Satya Yuga. So Satya Yuga, people were a very high standard, right? Like people, they could perform like a lot of austerities. They could go without water, food, or anything. They practically lived in the forest, and all they did was meditate. So they had this last tinge of material attachment left in them, And so, they were just trying to get over that and go back to Godhead. So the people in Satya Yuga or Krite, they could meditate for long periods of time. And it's also said that the people in Satya Yuga, they did not have to, by mind, they could actually produce children or progeny. And it was just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They never indulged in gross physical activities or anything like that. So they were always in the meditation of the Lord. And Dwapare Paricharyaya means to go on pilgrimage, like a lot of temples were there. So in Dwapara Yuga, you used to go on pilgrimage and do temple worship. And then Treta Makhahi. In Treta Yuga, you perform sacrifices. We have seen like how Maharaja Dashratha, he performed so many sacrifices and all that. So in Treta Yuga and Kalautad Hari Kirtanam. In Kali Yuga, Hari Kirtanam. So that I just am giving this reference, the Makha, so that you can remember the word Makhaha. That's how I remember from that verse. So that's the only reason I was giving that reference. Thank you, Mukund, and thank you, Mataji. We will do one more verse. Who wants to recite this verse? Did I not give a chance to somebody who raised their hands earlier? Is any volunteers who want to recite this verse? Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead. Nice to see you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasi karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead, recite the verse.
Vidyate hridaya grantish chidyante sarva samshayaha shiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody wants to go for the meaning of this verse? I took away the translation there. Just so, we can try to recall by ourselves. It will be a good exercise.
Try, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Jyoti Mataji also can. I know both of you raise your hands. So yeah, please go ahead.
Jyoti Mataji wants to say first, she can. If not, I will.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, sarva samshaya, here it says like all doubts.
Jai.
Sarva means all, and samshaya is doubt. Hridayam is the heart, and grantish, I think the entanglements.
Yeah, the knots.
Yeah. Chidyante is to cut them.
Yes, Mataji.
Drishta is to see. Evatmani manishware.
Eva Atman Ishwara.
Evatma mana Ishwara. Ishwara is the Supreme Lord. So these are the words that I can see, Mataji. So
Jai, beautiful, Mataji. Yeah, that you kind of covered. Bhavna Mataji, did you want to go for the remaining? Or who was it?
Most of are covered. Like Vidyate means to enter. Like Vidyate Hridaya Granthi means Hridaya is our heart. Yeah, to pause means it will enter into our heart, and the knot which is present in our heart will get removed immediately by doing the bhakti of Lord Krishna. And Chidyante Sar Samshaya means all the sanshaya, like all the doubts will means cut into pieces. Means we will be able to see the clear vision that who is Lord and who are we are his eternal servants. And Shiyante Chase Karmani means Shiyante means it will vanish. Karmani means like all our activities that we perform, karma we perform, we have to face its results, like whether it is a punya karma or pap karma. So all that karma will also vanish, as in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna said that Sarvadharman parityaje mamekam sharanam vraj aham tvam sarv papebhyo mokshishami ma shucha, means he will remove all our all our results of our karma, whether it is good or bad, if we surrender into him. And drishta evat manishware, drishta means we will be able to see, evat manishware means we will be able to see that our real identity, that we are the eternal servants of Lord Krishna and he is Supreme Lord.
Let me just check on that. Evatmanishware, according to, if I remember correctly, was it referring to the super soul, Mataji's? Drishta Evatmanishware. Let me just check on that one. Because unto the self Ishware. No, when one sees the self as master, you were right, Mataji. Yeah, it is referring to when one sees oneself as the master. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, the analogy.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Mataji. Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if we could kind of visually, visualize this verse. So, Hridaya Granthi, it refers to the knots in the heart, knots of material attachment. So, how do you generally remove a knot, when you have a thread and there is a knot? You put a pin and try to poke in and try to remove the knot, right? Generally, try to. So, Bhidyate, we can kind of visualize it as piercing, like with a pin and trying to take out the knot. Hridaya Granthi. Chidyante sarva samshayaha, like Chidyante nainam chindanti shastrani. We remember that verse. So cut, the soul cannot be cut into pieces by any shastrani, weapons like that. So we can relate that Chidyante sarva samshayas, it breaks or cuts into pieces all. Samshayaha refers to all these doubts, bewilderment which we have. Kshiyante chasya karmani, and it puts an end or it vanquishes, like Mataji was saying, chasya karmani. So all our karma, it puts an end or vanquishes. And how I remember Kshiyante is from that Bhagavad Gita verse, Kshine punya matya lokam vishanti, where it says that when Abrahma Bhuna Loka Punaravartino Arjuna, and like when people go to the heavenly planets, Shine Punya. So when Shine Punya means when it comes to an end, the Punya, Kshine Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. So they again fall back to the Martya Loka, which is the planet Earth. So that's how I remember Kshine Punyam is it kind of finished or vanquished, with all your. So Kshiyante Chasya Karmani is like putting an end, to all this karma, the cycle of karma. Drishta Evat Manishware, and then we see ourselves as the Supreme Master. So are we the Supreme Master? So what is Lord Krishna trying to tell here? I mean, what are we trying to learn here? It's not Lord Krishna who is saying this.
May I go, Mataji, for one minute?
Yeah, sure.
With
go
your
ahead.
permission. Hare Krishna, Mataji. From you today, from this sloka, we learned that there is a notes, God hai hamare hriday mein, काम क्रोध लोभ मोह मत्सर, especially false ego, अहंकार है. तो when we are staying in the association of Vaishnava, तो एक एक करके गांठ खुलती है. And there is also karmic reaction. Like हम सोचते ड्यूटी सोचते कि मैंने तो हकीकत का सपने में भी किसी का बुरा नहीं होता है. Why everyday new problem? Why everyday new difficulties come? Because of our past birth karma. तो गुजराती में बताते हैं कि सुड़ी का घाव सुई से गया, सुई नोक से. So there is a big difficulties came in duty's life, but Lord Krishna make it like a knob of the needle, so that we are very fortunate that we get such a strong association of Bhakti Sangha. All the pillars of H.G. Prithvilasani, H.G. Sukheswari Mataji, H.G. Lalitangi Mataji, and fourth was all Bhakti Sangha teachers, that they just open one by one node. काम क्रोध लोभ मोह मत्सर, भक्ति में आने के बाद भी बहुत सारी गांठ होती है, वो निकालते हैं. एंड स्पेशली हमारे अंदर रहा हुआ अहंकार, ईगो, फॉल्स ईगो, दैट ये जब हम साथ में जपा करते हैं, व्हेन वी हियर श्री भागवतम, देन दैट ऑल नोट्स विल, द गांठ जो बंधी हुई है वो खुल जाती है. दैट मच I understand in my limited knowledge, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Mataji, very nice. You gave a very nice purport to it, Mataji. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I was just wondering, does anybody understand why he says Drishta Eva Atmanishvare? Why do we look at ourselves as the master? Anybody remembers or would like to take?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
Mataji, is it referring to the realization of the super soul within us?
No, that's what, I was thinking, because there's another verse which also talks about, seeing the super soul within our heart. But this verse is saying that seeing oneself as the master. So I was just wanting to know if, any of us understand what it means when, what it means here when we say the seeing ourselves as the master.
Mataji, it can refer to as we are the small master, but Lord Krishna is the supreme master. We can control small things, but Krishna can supremely control many things beyond our limit.
Yeah, that's a good one, Mataji. And the other, aspect which is being, like we see here, it's all talking about material attachments and all our senses like that, right? So we are, when we can do all this, when we take to Krishna Katha and, devotional service, we can get rid of all these things and become the master of our senses, right? And our body too, which is material. So the soul is above, right? Everything. Above the body, the mind, intelligence, false ego, and the soul is actually above it. But due to the covering of the material nature, we come under the influence, right? And we act, or we are pulled by all our senses, and we try to become subservient to our senses. But when we do devotional service, so all these attachments are all broken down, all these are gone. And then, we actually become masters of our senses, or in one sense masters of our body. So we understand what's our true position, like that. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I'm thinking we'll go for today's verse. It's already 8 o'clock. So yeah, let me do one thing. Yeah, I forgot to put the English here. Anybody wants to recite after me? Any volunteers, please? Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Can I do it? This is Mukund.
Yeah, I mean, Jyoti Mataji also raised her hand. Both
Okay,
of you
Mataji.
can decide.
Mataji, Mukund can do it. It's always nice to hear the children reciting.
Okay, you both decide.
Mukund could do it.
Had your hand raised.
Okay, great, Mukund. Stri Shudra.
Mukund, go ahead.
Shudra
Dvijabandhunam.
Dvijabandhunam.
Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam.
Shudra Dvijabandhunam.
Traina.
Traina.
Shruti Gochara.
Shruti Gochara.
Karma Shreyasi.
Karma Shreyasi.
Mudhanam.
Mudhanam.
Shreya Evam.
Shreya Evam.
Bhaved Iha.
Bhaved Iha.
Iti Bharatam.
Iti Bharatam.
Akhyanam.
Akhyanam.
Kripaya.
Kripaya.
Munina Kritam.
Munina Kritam.
Is everybody clear with the words? We can go to line by line. Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam.
Bandhunam.
Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam.
Shudra Dvija Bandhunam.
Traina Shruti Gochara.
Traina Shruti Gochara.
Traina Shruti Gochara.
Traina Shruti Gochara.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam.
Shreya evam bhavedeha.
Shreya evam bhavedeha.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam.
Shreya evam bhavedeha.
Shreya evam bhavedeha.
Iti bharatam akhyanam.
Bharatam akyanam.
Iti bharatam akhyanam.
Bharatam akyanam.
Kripaya munina kritam.
Kripaya munina kritam.
Kripaya munina kritam.
Kripaya munina kritam.
Sri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara.
Bandhanam traina shruti gochara.
Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavediha.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam shreya evam bhavedeha.
Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam.
Bharatam akyanam kripaya munina kritam.
Sri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara.
Bandhanam traina shruti gochara.
Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavediha.
Karma shreyasi mudhanam shreya evam bhavedeha.
Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam.
Bharatam akyanam kripaya munina kritam.
Jai. Thank you so much, Mukund. Okay, like always, let's do our quiz. Anybody recognize any words? Go ahead quickly and tell me any words which stand out to you from this verse. The first one is easy. We have so many Matajis on the call.
Stri means woman and Shudra means the lowest class of men.
Yeah, Jai. Jyoti Mataji, do you want to go ahead and say some other meanings?
Dvija Bandhu, is it referring to the Brahmanas, Mataji?
Yeah, Dvija Bandhunam.
That
Dvijas are the Dvijas are the Brahmanas. Dvija Bandhunam is, who do not actually, they may be born of these Brahminical families, but they are not actually following these Brahminical principles, like that.
Okay.
So Dvija Bandhunam is not referring to Brahmins. Dvijas are Brahmins. Dvija Bandhunam is like, in one sense, who may be born in a caste Brahmana family, but they are not trained or they are not actually doing anything Brahminical. Like how in Kali Yuga, many of us are born in Brahmin families, right? But we are going and working outside and, working under somebody. So basically, we are not doing any Brahminical duty per se, because the moment you work under somebody and get a wage, you are a Shudra, right? So Brahmins, they only engage in 3 types of activities, like Srila Prabhupada says, Patan, Pathan, Jajan, Jhajan, and what was the other one? Like only 3 activities.
Dan pratigrahan.
Yeah, Dana pratigrahan. So these Brahmins, they only engage in this. So they don't charge money for educating like spiritual knowledge like that. And they don't work for somebody like that. Patan, Pathan, Jajan, Jajan. So Yajan, Jajan means like they do sacrifices and things like that. So basically, that's what, Dvija Bandhunam is, you may be of a Brahminical descent, but you're not doing anything Brahminical, so to speak, like that.
Thank you, Mataji, for explaining so beautifully. Trayi is thrice, all the 3 people referred to there.
Yeah, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. Anybody remembers that verse from the Bhagavad Gita, what it is referring to?
Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna, Nirvandha Natya Sattvasto, Niyoga Kshema Atmavan.
Yeah.
So here,
yeah. So here Trai is referring to the 3 Vedas, So, so Traina Shruti Gochara. Okay, let's just go for anybody else wants to share what words stand out to them. Jyoti Mataji and Tulsi Manju Mataji have raised their hand.
Mudhanam, isn't it like less intelligent? Not.
Yeah. Mudha, yeah, very good. Yeah. Shreya, does anybody remember Shreya? Nishreyasaya, we just learned that word, right? Shreya means
Benefit? Like spiritual activity?
Yeah, ultimate benefit. Like remember last time we discussed Shreyas Preyas. What is Shreyas? The ultimate benefit, like Krishna consciousness, or the benefit of the soul. And Preyas is what? Short-term benefit. Like if you're looking for some material, oh, I need to feel very feel very healthy, or I need to feel I need to acquire some wealth, some education, some knowledge, like that, right? So these prayers, so these are like short-term goals, which are material goals, and they do not give you satisfaction for a long time, right? So the duty of every human being is to engage in Shreya, which is like long-term benefit, which is cultivation of your spiritual life, right? So that's what Srila Prabhupada says, Shreyas, Preyas. There are two words. The Preyas is like, we're having a narrow vision in one sense, like short-sighted. And Preyas is short-sighted, and Shreyas is like having the ultimate vision and, in our sight, like that. Yes, Mukund, you were saying something?
No, Mataji, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay. I heard you. Okay, Shreya, everybody know. Evam bhaved iha. Anybody wants to take a jab at that? Bhaved.
Bhaved isn't it like achieve? Achieve.
Yeah, achieve. Yeah, that's right. Wow, you are a pandit, aren't you? Iti Bharatam. Here, what is this Bharatam referring to? Anybody know? Yeah, Mahabharat. Actually, I thought I pasted a picture, on the next slide. I meant to change this, but I did not change it. Yeah, it's referring to Mahabharat. And Iti Bharatam Akhyanam means, anybody wants to take a guess?
Like written?
Yeah, written. Very good. Kripaya.
Mercy?
Yeah, mercifully. Very good. Munina.
By the sage?
Kritam.
Complete. Completed.
Yeah, Kritam is to write or to compile, like that, right? So, Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara. Shruti means like our Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi. Shruti, like the Vedas, they are called like the Shruti, right? You by the hearing, the Shrutis. So, Traina Shruti, so Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam. So, these three categories of people, Stri, Shudra, and Dvijabandhu, like we also earlier explained, Dvijabandhu is referring to, like Prabhupada gives this explanation in the purport that, when a couple try to have a child, and they have a child in the mode of passion, but not according to the samskaras, like Brahminical samskaras, without undergoing any samskaras, then actually they give rise to this Dvijabandhunam, though they may be, of a caste Brahmin, but unless they follow the samskaras and unless they do, it according to the Vedic way, they are actually giving rise to kids in the mode of passion, and they are called as Dvijabandhu. They are not Brahminical in nature, and Prabhupada says this is how the people are in Kali Yuga, right? Like we don't see, even though they may be caste Brahmins, they may not know enough about Vedic scriptures. Materially, they may be very well educated and all that, high off, but lacking in spiritual knowledge, right? Though we may say that I'm born to Brahminical parents or whatever that is. So, Sri Shudra Dvijabandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara. So, they Shruti Gochara is to, study the Shruti, Traina Shruti Gochara. So, they're not qualified to actually listen to the Vedas or chant the Vedas. They cannot, they're not intellectually qualified for that. Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam. So for such Shreya evam bhaved iha. So for such people, karma shreya, how can they act? Karma shreyasi mudhanam. So for these people, for the benefit of, how these people should act, this mudhanam, shreya evam bhavediha. So shreya evam bhaved iha, like this shreya is like, this would be very beneficial to them. And what would be beneficial? Iti bharatam akyanam kripaya munina kritam. So thinking, iti bharatam akyanam. So thinking like this, the Mahabharata was actually compiled to benefit these three classes of people, who are not in one sense qualified to, learn or recite the Vedas. And so how can they act, right? Karma shreyasi mudhanam. So how can these people act, or how can they know what they should do in their lives? Shreya evam bhavedeha iti bharatam akhyanam kripaya munina kritam. So with keeping this in mind, very mercifully, this Mahabharatam was actually compiled. So Mahabharata, especially the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is advising, or he is preaching to Arjuna, that is something very easy, like in our scriptures we talk of prasthana trayi. This is another three. There are a lot of threes in our scriptures. We can someday try to do a research of so many three numbers in our scriptures like that. So prasthana trayi, which is being referred to, like any scholar who is in one sense qualified to be called a scholar, is supposed to be an expert in this prasthana trayi. And prasthana trayi refers to the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and then the Vedanta Sutra, the summary of the Vedanta Sutra. So if you see all the acharyas, like from different sampradayas, they will usually give commentaries to like these Upanishads, and then the Bhagavad Gita, and then the Vedanta Sutra. And in our case, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told, what is the commentary to the Vedanta Sutra that we all study?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai, yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he established that Srimad Bhagavatam is sufficient, it's the summary study. You don't need to know anything other than Lord Krishna's life, activities, and pastimes as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he proclaimed that Srimad Bhagavatam is the Vedanta Sutra for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we follow Srimad Bhagavatam as the commentary, natural commentary. And so our acharyas, they do not go for any other means to actually, summarize the Vedanta Sutra or give meaning to it, because Gaudiya Vaishnava, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established that this is the summary. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary, official commentary for us. So these are the three scriptures: Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads. We also learn Isha Upanishad, right? Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishad, and then the Bhagavatam, which is the commentary for the Vedanta Sutra. Okay, with that, let's go on to the word by word. Anybody wants to read out, please?
3. The women class. Shudra, the laboring class. Dvijabandhunam, of the friends of the twice born. Trayi, the three sacrificial Vedas. Na Shruti, Gochara, not allowed to be heard. Karma Shreyasi, in the successful execution of ritual duties. Mudhana, the less intelligent. Shreya, supreme benefit. Evam thus bhavet, achieved, iha by this. Iti, thus thinking. Bharata, the great Mahabharata. Akhyanam, the historical facts. Kripaya, out of great mercy. Munina, by the Muni. Kritam is completed. Translation. Out of compassion, the great King thought it wise that this would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. Thus, he compiled the great historical narration called as the Mahabharata for women, laborers, and friends of the first one.
Jai. Thank you so much, Preeti Mataji. Anybody has any questions? on today's verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
I have one
Krishna.
question. Like, Trai word is there. So, Trai is referring to means three Shudra and Dvij Bandhu, three people, three categories, three types of categories, or three
Here is,
Vedas.
yeah, Prabhupada is translating as the three sacrificial Vedas. Rig, Sama,
Like,
Yajur.
but there are four Vedas, na? Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Sam Ved, Athar Ved. And why
Yeah.
it is three over here?
Yeah, it's actually said, Preeti, correct me. I mean, I kind of vaguely remember the Atharva Veda came about later. So the main three Vedas were Rig, Sama, Yajur.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they deal with the sacrificial thingy. And then the Atharva Veda deals with something else, perhaps. So,
Okay, Mataji.
yeah, so that's why, even many places they refer to the three Vedas, Trivedi, like that. So,
Okay, Mataji.
thank you. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. There is no question, but one request on behalf of all Vaishnavas, mercy, permission, that Shri Radhashtami come after 2 weeks. So can you please teach us next week Shri Radha Stotram or Shri Radha Krupa Kataks by the permission of all Vaishnava and all teachers?
Yes, Mataji, maybe, in another class, let me talk to Radha Pyari Mataji and see if we can do it in the Vaishnava Bhajan class, Mataji. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji. Hari Bol Dandavat.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, if there are no more questions or comments, let's recite this 3 times and, try to meditate on this verse for the rest of the week. Sri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavedeha Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam Sri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavedeha Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam Sri Shudra Dvija Bandhunam Traina Shruti Gochara Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavediha Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam. Jai. We'll offer the Vaishnava Pranam mantras and then we will dismiss for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo anantapati vaishnavibhyo
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Sukha
Jai.
ki Jai, all
Saraswati Mataji
ki Jai.
Jai. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. We'll meet again next week with yet another shloka.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.